What's up YouTube? Thrift Hunter here with this week's estate sale finds. Went to a couple of sales this week and this is what we found. Spent a total of about $1,250, which is a decent amount of money to spend, but we've got a lot of gold here, so I'm really not too worried. We've got some really nice pieces that I'm going to show you, so let's go ahead and get started. We'll start out here with a non-jewelry item. Of course, Tiffany Co is a great box to see at an estate sale. This is nothing really special. It is a deck of playing cards. So there you go. It's just a Tiffany playing card deck, but it's all complete and looks to be in fairly unused condition. All the cards look nice. And it's got all of the original, inner box, outer box. It's not the cleanest, the outer box. I think I might be able to clean it up a little bit. But that was $7. And of course, for $7, I'm going to grab it. Not a very expensive item. These I think I can get about $30 for, which is still not bad. I mean, that's a decent amount of profit. It's going to be easy to ship. I just saw these gold-filled glasses. It's really nothing special about these or anything. They are marked Art Craft Gold Filled under the bridge here. Just under the bridge. It's going to be hard to focus on it, so it's right under there. Art Craft and Gold Filled. These I have probably like 5 or 6 pairs now of gold filled framed glasses that are like this that I'm just going to group together and sell them all. This was actually just grouped with another piece that I bought that I'll show you. So nothing great there, but they were basically free, so I'll take them. And then I got this piece, which I kind of just saw next to the jewelry at the estate sale I was at, and thought it was really neat at first, just looking at it as like a table lighter. And then underneath I saw the little tab here, which means it's a music box, which I knew right away. I've seen these before, but this is a combination lighter, table lighter, and music box. And what's really kind of extra special about this piece is that it says Rouge Saint Croix, which is the song that it plays, and Rouge is the maker, which means it's a Swiss made. It also says Swiss made on the other side of the tab, which we're gonna pull out because I want to play it for you. See if I can get it to come up. So here's the little music box tab. We're gonna wind it up a little bit and see if we can get it to play. That's a pretty cool piece there. Another thing that's kind of neat about it, as it's still playing here, but I'll show you. The music box part actually slides off, and this is made by Tiki Gala, and it looks to be in fairly decent condition. I mean, it's a little rusted, but that can all be cleaned up. And I really like the part that this slides away like that. Very Art Deco in style. This should attract a lot of collectors and should be worth anywhere from maybe $100 to $200. I think there's going to be some demand for this piece, so yeah, I think this cost me maybe $10 at most. I think this was grouped with another piece as well, and she kind of just said give me $50 for the glasses, this piece, and a watch that I bought, which I'm going to show you. So yeah, there's that very cool little Art Deco musical table lighter. Okay, so here's the next piece I'm going to show. This is a Ernest Burrell ladies manual wind wristwatch. I saw this at the sale, and anytime I see a watch with box and papers, I start getting really interested because buyers just really prefer having the whole complete set. And I wasn't too interested in it at first, but then I started seeing like the paperwork, and then I saw the price tag right here, which was $50, and I looked at the receipt because I thought maybe this was the original purchase receipt, but this is just a repair receipt for $85. So then I start thinking, well, maybe they thought this was an original receipt, saw the $85 and priced it at $50, and maybe that was the reason. But this is $85 just for a repair, not for, you know, the cost of the watch originally. But it's got like a brand new booklet of the certificate of guarantee. And so I was just like, this is a little bit interesting of a piece. And then I, of course, pulled it out and took it out. And then I noticed that it's got a skeleton back. So I thought that was kind of neat. I was like, okay, like this movement, just looking at it, looks pretty nice. There wasn't any markings that say it's gold. It's got the maker's name right there. So I'm assuming it's gold plated. But I didn't know what it was. I just said, all right, it's good enough. And I grouped that with the lighter and the glasses, and I got $50 for all 3 pieces because the lady at the sale knew who I was and has done deals with me in the past. But anyway, I did some research on this watch and found out that they're actually pretty valuable. And one of the things is this dial. So we're going to wind it up and see if my camera will pick up this movement. So check out that cool dial. Just an awesome, awesome ladies watch. I mean, this is like as good as you can get. Box papers, the thing looks brand new. It's got a cool mystery dial that does this kind of like optical illusion thing on it. It's got the little rhinestones that sparkle. This is just an awesome, awesome little ladies watch. And I was able to find a bunch of these online, and the price is kind of all over the place. So you can find them as cheap as like maybe $20 in pretty beat up condition. In good condition, they were running about $100. In like really, really good condition, they were running up to almost $150 to maybe $200 if they were like real, real mint. And none of them had box and papers with it. So I think that this piece should be in that upper end of the price range for these. I think it's going to be in the range of about $200 to $300 potentially if I want to, you know, it's always going to depend on how long I want to sit on it. None of the ones I saw had this rhinestone border, which I think really does add a little bit to this watch and makes it even more interesting. And then just the condition, original box and papers and everything like that is going to make this a pretty nice watch and a really good score for the price that I got it for. So I really like this this piece. The next piece we're going to look at is this Illinois wristwatch. It is 14 karat white gold, and I have it apart here just so I could show you guys the inner movement and the workings and the 14 karat mark as well, and then we'll put it back together and look at it. So here is the dial. And it's really nice, got a, you know, an older Art Deco style to it. Illinois has been a really good brand for me. So if you see Illinois brand like wristwatches or pocket watches, pick them up because they tend to sell a lot better than Elgin or Waltham for me. I've definitely had a lot of success with the Illinois watches. So this one was priced, you know, little low. It kind of had 2 prices on it, and I just asked them like, well, how much is this? Is it this price or is it this price? And then she goes, oh, you know, $17. So I was like, okay, I'll take it for $17 without looking at it. I mean, it's already gonna be good to me, and it does run. So I did check that out. So here's the movement and the case back. So the case back is marked 14K in there. And I was able to look up the movement, and it seems like a pretty decent movement. Nice thing about Illinois is they kind of mark everything. So this is a 80, what is it? 807B, looks like, is the model number of the movement. and it's a 17 jewel manual line, and it's got serial number on it, so it's easy to research. And so there's the movement. This watch, I'm not really sure exactly on the value. I've had similar watches to this before, but I think the condition on this one is pretty good considering that it's running, and overall the whole piece still looks pretty nice. And I think it could be cleaned up to like almost new. And it's really hard to find a lot of solid gold Illinois watches. So I'm not really sure on the value of this yet. I would assume just in gold there's about $100 in gold there. I think as a wristwatch maybe I can get up to $200 for it. It could be more, it could be less, but it's a nice looking ladies Illinois Art Deco watch in 14 karat white gold. Alright, so we're gonna do these two pocket watches. At the sale, the lady running the estate sale knew me, and she was just like, if you want to buy some of the watches, let me know. I'll make you a group deal if you buy a couple of them. And so I bought that Illinois watch for $17. And so I already knew I had a good score on that one. And then I was like, all right, she's going to work with me on the pocket watches. And what was interesting was there was probably 100 people at this sale. I mean, tons of people. I was number like 38 or something. I mean, I wasn't even close to the front. And as soon as I got in, I walked right up to the pocket watches. Nobody was even looking at them. No one, no line. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to wait in line to see the jewelry and whatever. No one. Just walked up. She opened up the case. She says, take a look at whatever you want. I'm like, all right, cool. So I started flipping through some of the watches. There was one that I saw in the pictures, which was this one here, and then this one I saw afterwards, but this was the first one that I saw, and this is the one that I overpaid for. I kind of knew I was overpaying for it. I just kind of wanted it, and I sometimes do pretty well on these watches with the kind of fancier details to it. So first of all, it has a nice little engraving on the back. The gold field is in pretty good condition. But there are some problems with this watch, which is going to make it that I overpaid. So I paid $125 for this piece, which was too much. I already know that it was too much, but I'm okay with it still. I mean, it's still a neat pocket watch, and I will be able to get some money for it back. And I think the other items I bought will compensate. But it's missing the top ring, which is fairly common. But I think the big problem is going to be this back is not sealing or not clicking in properly. So here's the back, and I can tell right away that it's gold filled. It's got those little scales, the little scale mark on the back. That means it's been like weighted and tested or whatever, warrantied, which means it's not a solid gold case because there's no gold marking there. But what really got me interested in this piece was the dial. And it's a painted dial, and it's an Elgin, and the painting is nothing super special, and there is, a little bit of dirtiness and a little bit of maybe hairline cracking to the dial, but just having a painted dial is usually a better thing to have on watches. It just gets the collector a little bit more interested, because you're maybe going to see 100 watches that look just like this, but with no painted dial. And the painting doesn't look that great of quality, which I'm not sure if that's potentially an aftermarket painting or what happened. It doesn't seem like it, because this hasn't really been opened up or tampered with very much. So this is like a lady's watch. It's a little bit smaller on the size, but something about it I liked. I like the painted dial. I like the engraving. I like this reeded edges all over the place that are in here and on here, which just tells me it's a little bit more special of a watch, but it's really probably worth more in the $75 range in this kind of condition. But I will try, my best to get my money back out of it, probably. So it was an interesting watch, but the one that I liked a little bit more was this one. So this one's obviously a little bit smaller than this one, which this one I think is a maybe a 6 size or something. I mean, this one's pretty small already. So this is like a 0 size or a 3 size. I'm not sure. But this one on the tag said already 18 karat gold on it. And it was marked at $250, and I said, what's the best price on this one? Again, nobody was looking at the pocket watches. It's a solid 18 karat gold pocket watch, and no one was looking at it, which, kind of leads you to wonder. I mean, sometimes you just get lucky, or people don't really go for things. But I asked, what's the best price? And she said $150. I said, I'll take it. I mean, 18 karat gold is like, what, $40 a gram or something right now. So, this thing's got to have close to $150 in gold in it. But it's marked, and it's marked right up here, which it's probably going to be too hard to show you. But it's marked K18 right up there. And this is a cylinder pocket watch. You can see it says Cylindre right on there, and it's an 8 rubies watch. Nothing fancy. I mean, obviously an 8 jewel watch is nothing great, and these cylinder pocket watches are obviously pretty common, as I have like 30 of them still. But being an 18 karat gold case with a really nice looking case is going to be where all the value is, pretty much. Here's the front. It's an unbranded, pretty generic looking dial with no crystal and nothing really of note about it other than the 18 karat gold and the nice engraving on the outside. I think that's just all there really is to this piece. I would like to be able to take out the movement and weigh the case just to see exactly how much gold I have, but this weighs about 27 grams total with the movement. And the movement, I'm not sure how much it would weigh. I would imagine somewhere around like 20 something, 21, 22 grams. So I would think there's maybe 5 grams to 6 grams of gold in here, which, still puts us in the hopefully $250, $300 range for this watch. So I thought that was a good deal for $150. This one I overpaid for at $125. Alright, so here's our last two pieces. This is where a majority of the money was spent. Obviously, if you start adding up what I spent on the other things, we're only at about $350, so that's going to leave us with about $900 left in our budget of how much we spent this week. So obviously these are going to be some nice pieces. These came in these little jewelry bags. This is like a Femular Jewelers. It's a jewelry store in Carlsbad, San Diego. Nice little jewelry store. So I wonder if they kind of appraised this at some point, is what I'm thinking, or maybe they cleaned them. I'm guessing that the owner had an appraisal done at some point on these, and they got these bags from the jewelry store. Is what I think. But here's the first piece that I bought, and there's kind of a story about both of these pieces and, this sale. So this sale had some nice jewelry in the pictures. So I was like, they're probably going to be really expensive, and I don't really want to spend a ton of money, and, they're probably going to be overpriced, and it was far away and everything. But I was like, you know what? They have the right quality of goods that I'm looking for. I'm really looking for sales that have just top quality pieces and just going and seeing if I can buy it. I mean, I've got to try and get the best quality stuff I can. There's usually better profit margin on the better items. They sell faster. There's more people interested. So I went for a specific piece, which is this other piece, and ended up first passing on this one. So I asked how much for this piece. They said $800. And I was like, okay, well, I went back in line, and they kind of had the jewelry behind the register, so it wasn't really out on display, and they were all in these bags, so you couldn't really see them. But I saw them in the pictures, but nobody, again, was looking at the jewelry at all. Usually I'm like fighting over everyone to get, a look at the jewelry, and there was no one going for it. And so I said, that other piece is $800. I'm like, well, I'll think about it. I think that's a lot, but do you have that ring? I was like, you had this jade ring. I'm like, do you have that? And she was like, yeah. So she pulls it out and shows it to me, and I just look at it really quickly. And I go, well, how much is this? She goes, $95. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. I mean, I think if you see something like this and it's a gold ring and it's, under $100, I mean, that's gonna be just an instant. I mean, I'm gonna buy it because there's roughly $100 in gold, just in this ring band. So it is marked 14 karat on the inside across that bar right there. And then I could see that it had some damage. So you can see that the ring is broken here. And then they've added a piece of gold, which is also marked 14 karat, across to fix it, which is kind of a more traditional way of repairing a piece of jewelry. Instead of soldering it together, they just add this like little strap to it, which was an interesting, it's kind of an old school type of repair. So it's got some issues, and it's maybe a little bit crooked on the setting here, but it doesn't look too bad. But anyway, it's a nice piece of like orange and white jade, and it actually has a pretty good quality of carving to it. So it looks like two cats. There's like one facing this way, one facing this way, and then this one's got a little bit of orangish, reddish jade to it. First off, it's ice cold. It's definitely a jadeite. The quality of the jade in this piece is a little bit better, I would say, than most. I like the white on this side is very nice and kind of clear, and it's just got a good color to it. And then obviously the orange adds like a nice little accent of color. The carving is pretty detailed, but overall it's a small piece of jade that's not, hyper expensive. It's not going to be a crazy piece because these orange jade pieces are bicolored jade. It's just not like, I don't know, like it's not going to be a multi-$1,000 ring or anything like that. It's not that kind of quality. The setting is nice, but again, it's not crazy. It's just scroll work. It's not a big fancy heavy gold setting. But I showed this to some of my friends, my Chinese friends. I buy a lot of jewelry, and a lot of them know me. There's a lot of Chinese buyers that go out to these sales where I'm at. And a lot of times they tell me, here, take down my number. If you find anything Chinese, you find anything jade, anything really old, like let us know, because we know a lot of people that buy these pieces. We can usually get better prices, that sort of thing. So I've already sent out some pictures of these pieces to some friends, and they let me know that, this piece is kind of, they're telling me almost exactly what I thought of the piece. So it's letting me know that I'm pretty spot on with my jade, because a lot of people don't know jade that well, and I think I'm pretty good at this. So they were saying the same thing. It's got a little bit better color, it's got a little bit better of a carving, but it's just still kind of okay, and this and that. It's got damage. They just kind of tell me like the same things of why I bought it. So I think this piece is somewhere in the $200 to $300 range. And I think I'm definitely going to ask the higher end range on this, just because on eBay, there's a lot of foreign buyers. I have a really good market for this, and I think I can hold out and just wait, and someone's just going to buy it because it's got this nice carving, especially with the subject matter there. So I'm going to, ask. I'll probably start this thing out at maybe like $400, and then I'll start lowering it after a couple of weeks. That's what I typically do with my jewelry. So there, there's that piece, nice piece, and now we're gonna move on to the last piece. Okay, so now time for the story of this piece. I already said before this was $800. I said, well, will you do $600? She goes, nope, $800. I'm like, what, like $700? Like, I'm buying the ring too. I'm like, can you do $700? She goes, nope, $800. I'm like, So I start waiting around. I wait and wait for it to die down, get a little less busy, which has been really helpful lately, is kind of just hanging out, when there's these really expensive items, just wait. But wait till they're a little less busy and they've got more time to kind of talk to you and negotiate with you. And, just because at the first, 30 minutes of the sale, they're just going to tell you, nope, prices are firm, because they just don't want to deal with it. But after a while, if you wait, maybe they'll talk to you. But this one, she was just, nope, $800. But I was like, okay, well, tell me more about it. Do you have any, certifications for this? Do you know the certain, qualities of this. So we're going to go ahead and pull it out. So here's the piece, and I saw this already in the pictures, and I kind of just was like, well, you know, how much does the chain weigh? How much does the piece weigh? Here's the chain. And I said, well, you know, what carat is the chain? Is this 14 karat? Is it 18 karat? You know, what is it? And so she starts telling me, well, it's 57 grams. And I'm like, the chain is 57 grams? And she's like, yeah, the chain's 57 grams. I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't think that's right. And I'm like, it's probably 57 grams for the whole piece. Because she was reading off of apparently they had some appraisal done on this piece, which, you know, is normal. And I said, no, I think the whole thing's 57. So I kind of started feeling this in my hand, and, you know, took it, and I was like, you know, if this whole thing is 57 grams, I think this is like maybe 26, 27 grams. And so I start punching that into my scrap gold calculator on my phone, and it's coming up around, you know, $750, $700 in gold. So I'm like, all right, well, if the chain is like $700 in gold, what she was telling me it was $1,600 in gold, which obviously I knew it wasn't. I was like, there's no way. I was like, I felt the whole thing in my hand. And so this piece was about $700 in gold. And so, you know, if I'm getting this for about $100, there's probably close to $100 in gold on the frame on this piece as well. So I'm like, all right, so $800. It's very expensive, but I'm just not going to leave the sale without this piece because the value's there. So I decided to buy it, and it's got this little barrel clasp, and it's been kind of a pain to get apart, but it is marked 14 karat right in the tongue clasp there. And I'm going to take off the chain so I can show you how much it weighs. And I didn't know. I didn't bring my scale with me, which was kind of my mistake. I just felt it in my hand. And let's see how much this weighs. So this comes in right at 26.6 grams. So just by feeling it in my hand, I was spot on within a gram just feeling it in my hand, which was pretty amazing when I got home, because I was really tense on the ride home because I was like, oh boy, I just spent $800 on this piece. I hope it's worth it. And so 26.6 grams, you punch that into your gold scrap calculator. When I first bought it, it was $750 in scrap. Now it's at about $770 in scrap. Gold's gone up a couple bucks. So already, I mean, almost all of my money back right there in this gold piece. Not all of it, but pretty close. Also, if you want to purchase one of these scales, I'm going to have a link in the description below. This is a Digi-Wave digital scale. This is a 600 gram scale. I'm going to have my Amazon affiliate link in the description below. It helps me earn a little extra money to help support the channel. And it's about time for me to buy a new one. I've had this one for about 2 years. But these Digi-Wave scales are really good quality, very accurate, and they go up to 600 grams, which is what I like about it, because I routinely weigh things above 100 grams. There's a lot of 100 gram scales, but this one goes up to 600 grams. So if you want to purchase one of these, I mean, they're like, I don't know, 12 bucks, 15 bucks, something like that with shipping. And I'll have the link in the description below for that. It really helps me out, guys, if you purchase through those links. And last, we'll talk about this Jade piece. And again, I sent it to some pictures to some friends of mine, and they were all thinking almost the exact same thing that I'm thinking. The Jade piece in here, it's obviously, I mean, it's ice cold. It's obviously jadeite. I mean, it's real jade, without a doubt. And we both kind of agree, you know, that the jade is kind of so-so in this. It's really not that great of a piece of jade. It's not bad, but you can see a lot of the kind of hairlines in the stone, which is, you know, normal stone thing, but you'd really like that to be a little bit like in comparison to the white on this stone, where it's a little bit clearer and a little bit better color to it. Also, it's a two-tone color. You've got some dark, you've got some light, you've got some whitish pieces in there, but it's not like a nice solid one color. The size is good about it. It's got a nice size, but again, the carving is kind of weak. It's not a bad carving, but it's not really a deep, detailed, interesting carving. It's just a flower on it, and again, this side on the back, still kind of a plain carving. It's only marked 14 karat. There's no 585 mark. There's no maker's mark. Nothing like that on it. I would say without a doubt this piece came from Hong Kong, but was likely sold as an export piece, just because of the way that those markings are. And it tells us that it's a little bit newer. I mean, this kind of engraving style is telling us a little bit newer. So it's nothing like an antique old jade piece, but it's still very, very beautiful. The stones are, it's got diamond, and then it's got these green stones on it, which I think are Savarite garnets, most likely. They could be emerald, they could be sapphire. I get some people in the comments that say, like, well, why don't you know exactly what stone it is? It's like, well, you know, green stone like this, it could be sapphire, it could be Savarite, it could be zircon, it could be a lot of things. I don't have a spectrometer. I'm not the GIA, you know, that... And overall, it just really doesn't matter what the stones... I mean, these stones don't have any value. Even the diamonds, they're not really going to have much of any significant value. So I always wonder why people are like, well, what stone is it specifically? I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. It just depends on how the piece looks overall. I mean, who cares about it? It's a green stone, gemstone. It's like, it's nothing of big size or anything that's going to be worth millions if it's one stone over the other. So... yeah, don't get too caught up in what type of stone things are. I mean, you can list it as green stone. You'll be fine for these smaller stones on here. It's just really not going to make much of a difference. I don't know why some people get so hung up about that. But this is the piece that I bought with the gold chains, so I'm going to decide if I want to sell these separately or together. I think I'm going to try it together at first. This is a 30-inch gold rope chain. It's about 3mm, I think. Just because I think the effect of the overall piece looks really nice on the gold chain, and with the big jade pendant hanging off it, I think the whole overall effect is really nice. But I think asking, you know, what I'm going to ask, somewhere in the like $1,200 to $1,500 for the whole set, I think that's going to be a harder sell to really... you know, someone's just not going to want to drop that much on this whole piece. Especially, you know, it might not be the right chain length for them. They might not like the style. They might want to use their own chain. You know, there's like this whole thing. So I think I'm going to end up separating it, but I'm going to try it together just to see. But I think I'll have better odds just selling the gold chain, get all my money back out basically very quickly, and not have to worry about much after that, and then just put a high price on the jade piece and let it sit. There's nothing really comparable on eBay, and not a whole lot I could find online that was comparable. But I was able to find some pieces that were similar. I asked my friends, my Chinese friends, and they said, you know, it's probably worth like, you know, $200 to $300. Maybe you can get a little bit more online, you know. So I was like agreeing with that. My buddy said, you know, maybe 200 plus the gold value in the piece. And I was like, yeah, I could see that from a dealer perspective. I think for me as like a wholesale person, and, you know, how much it would cost you to buy something similar, I would price this more at like $500 to $600, which is around what I'm going to ask for it. So that's the story with this piece. Spent a whole lot of money, but I think it's absolutely worth it. I think I'm very, very safe on this piece. Just in gold alone, I should be at $800, so it's a lot of money to spend, but just remember that if you're buying the right quality of pieces, there's a lot of gold value in it, then you're very safe, you know, spending, you know, thousands of dollars. It's just, if it's the right piece, it's totally okay, as long as you know what you're doing. But, you know, I wouldn't really recommend it if you're not very experienced in this kind of thing, but I just happened to know and took the chance on it. I was just like, you know what, for this price, I'm just not gonna leave it. The price, you know, the piece is just speaking to me, and that's why I bought it. And that's how you should buy everything. I mean, if it's just something that just pulls you in and you just can't let it go, I sat there for probably 2 hours thinking about this piece, and I'm like, all right, if I'm going to sit there and think about it for this long, I should just buy it. There's obviously a lot of gold there. I'm not going to lose a ton of money if it's, you know, a little bit too light or whatever. So yeah, that's the story with this piece. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching.